Welcome back to another episode of ROC Boys Football. Some exciting news for the Oklahoma Sooners on the 2024 recruiting trail as they have a couple of guys taking visits to Oklahoma. They've received a couple of crystal balls. We're going to talk about some of these players and then what Brent Venables and this defensive staff are really trying to do on the defensive line. Again, before we get into it, I just want to say thank you to you guys, especially the Sooner fans, phenomenal fans. I love talking ball with you guys in the comment section. So if you are a fan of the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Again, the support you guys have shown, especially y'all out in Norman or wherever you're watching, the Oklahoma Sooners fans. The support means a lot. You guys have been absolutely awesome. Let's get into it. I want to start with the most recent news, and that's Williams Nwaneri officially booking his visit to Norman March 4th. This is supposed to be a really, really big recruiting weekend for Oklahoma as we kind of get out of this dead period, if you will. And we'll be kind of jumping back on and talking about the official visits that they have coming in on this weekend. And again, you take a look at Williams Nwaneri, like very, very talented dude, a top 5 player nationally, one of the best, actually the best defensive lineman in the whole entire country in this 2024 class. And again, he has a lot of suitors. He's actually locked in also to take a visit to Boulder, Colorado during Colorado spring game as well. And again, Williams Nwaneri has talked a lot about Miguel Chavis and how much he's gotten along with him. That's the defensive end coach for Oklahoma. Miguel Chavis, I'm a massive fan of the staff Brent Venables has brought over from Clemson. And a lot of these guys were fundamental in not only the acquisition of talent that Clemson had through their recruiting process, but also the development. You think about guys like Christian Wilkins, Kellen Farrell, and then even the more recent guys like Miles Murphy, KJ Henry, guys who are going to go into the NFL draft in 2023. Miguel Chavis has been a kind of a fundamental role in that, and you're seeing him become one of the better recruiters for this Oklahoma Sooners program. And again, Williams Nwaneri, he's going to be a hard prospect to get. He is a bona fide 5-star. You take a look at where he wants to go, taking a couple visits to Oregon, did visit Tennessee as well. I believe he's trying to book a visit to Alabama as well. He's from the state of Missouri, so you know Missouri is going to be in there. But again, we're seeing Oklahoma be in the running for all the top prospects on the high school recruiting trail. And specifically, there's been an emphasis on this defensive line, and that kind of takes us to the next guy we're going to be talking about, and that's David Stone. I know a lot of Oklahoma Sooner fans are very familiar with this name. It's a heated recruiting battle. And again, David Stone, another guy who is a top 10 dude nationally, one of the best defensive linemen in the whole entire country. And you're loving it. If you're a Sooners fan, you're in the running for a guy like Nwaneri, for a guy like David Stone, two of the best defensive linemen in this class, two guys who are go over 6'4", 270 pounds, freak dudes with big time power in their hands. If you can bag one of them and even maybe both of them, that'd be a massive get for Oklahoma. And especially when you look at what Brent Venables wants to do on the defensive line. Where did not all of his success, where did a lot of his success come from when he was coaching at Clemson on that defense? Being able to create negative plays and get pressure on the quarterback. And that is kind of something that I think lacked Oklahoma last year. And you saw them address it, not only in what they're trying to do in this 2024 class, but where do they go in the transfer portal? 4 defensive linemen coming into Oklahoma. Rondell Bothroyd, if you guys checked out my video on that, I'm a massive fan of Rondell Bothroyd. One of the more slept-on defensive line guys in the whole entire country, playing at little old Wake Forest. But he's going to come in, probably be day one starter for the Sooners, but at least add some depth. They also went out and got Trace Ford from Oklahoma State, Deshaun McCullough from Indiana, who's also a stud. And I believe one other guy, North Texas, Devon Spears as well. So you're seeing Brent Venables say, hey, how I make my money and how my defense succeeds is being able to create havoc on the quarterback and get those turnovers. And that's what he's trying to do, addressing this 2024 class, going after the best defensive lineman in the class in David Stone and Williams Nwaneri. Now, another guy that has been crystal balled to the Sooners is Nigel Smith. He's another top 50 prospect, one of the best defensive linemen. And you're starting to notice a trend. They like the length and they like the power. This is another guy who goes 6'5", 260 pounds from Texas. And again, going up against guys like Ohio State, where Larry Johnson is a phenomenal recruiter for Ohio State. But who do you see the two main recruiters for Nigel Smith, Todd Bates and Miguel Chavis? These guys are getting it done. And you take a look at what these guys have done throughout their history recruiting. I mean, Miguel Chavis being the primary recruiter for Adebawore and I think I said his name right, in 2023, a top 15 guy nationally in the country. A lot of these Sooners commits in that 2022 class were guys that Miguel Chavez, who is new to the program, he's a first-year guy coaching the defensive ends, but he's getting it done. And even you go to Todd Bates and you look at what Todd Bates has done on the recruiting trail, landing one of the best prospects 24/7 has ever graded in Brian Brzee. And a lot of those studs on the defensive line, like Trey Williams, have also committed to Clemson, as with Todd Bates as their primary recruiter. Again, this is a very exciting time for the Sooners program. And you talk about what Brent Venables wants this defense to look like. They don't want to play that bend but don't break like Alex Grinch and Lincoln Riley played a couple years ago. And quite frankly, for Sooner fans, as you move to the SEC, I'm happy they're going away from that because I don't think that works. They're putting an emphasis on being physical on the line of scrimmage. And again, that's probably where Oklahoma has struggled when they go knock up against those big-time programs from the SEC, is the physicality that SEC conference brings is kind of next level. And I think Brent Venables is taking a look at moving over to the SEC and saying we have to be able to be competitive on the line of scrimmage. And you're seeing them not only target the top defensive line guys in the country, but some of the bigger guys, like it's size-wise, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", 260-plus pounds in high school. They want physicality on the line of scrimmage, and that's what they're prioritizing as they set out on the 2024 recruiting trail. And I think that's a massive win. And again, you have had guys like Nick Benito who've been really good edge defenders, but it kind of struggled with physicality. I think Brent Venables is kind of going away from that. And again, I'm very excited to see how this Oklahoma defensive line looks this year, adding a guy like Trace Ford, adding a guy like Rondo Bothroyd, Ethan Downs coming back next year. The Sooners team is getting much more talented on the defensive line, and it's starting to look more like a Brent Venables defense. I'm very excited to see how this recruiting process unfolds. And I think, again, if you're a top defensive line prospect and you're taking a look at where you want to go, joining forces with a guy like Brent Venables, Todd Bates, Miguel Chavez, pretty much, I mean, you could argue Clemson was defensive line U for a really long time. Pairing up with some of those coaches who've produced some of the top talent in the NFL draft is a really, really big time bet. Very exciting time for Sooners fans. When I get it wasn't necessarily the most, it was a little bit of a letdown in 2022 with Brent Venables' first year, but I think there's some growing pains to be had. This program and this football team is going to look fundamentally different from what it looked like with Lincoln Riley and Alex Grinch on the defensive side of the ball. So Sooner fans, I would not press the panic button. Be patient with Brent Venables. It looks like he's targeting his guys, ideally getting his guys, and this defense is going to look a heck of a lot different in 2023 and as they go into the SEC. Again, wanted to keep this one short for you guys, but some really exciting times for the Sooners fans. Again, if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Again, the Sooner fans and the Sooner support has been a blast. We love talking Oklahoma football. We appreciate the support you guys have shown. And again, if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate y'all, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.